Hey everybody, how you doing? Late afternoons on the weekends for me are always really super cool, especially like today, finished a batch of music and stuff. I still have a lot of work to do, but this is that time of the day where I like to chill out and just relax. And I came across on this channel, The Positive Wave Rider, a comment that came from my last video that I put up about, what the choice of living alone versus loneliness and the decisions that we make when it's possibly the time that we are by ourselves. But be it introvert or extrovert, we just like to have that pull-in quiet time. Anyhow, that video's there. This is not about that, but this is about a comment that was left on that video. And what I found very unique and compelling about it is it actually awakened something that happened to me in the past. And the comment was, if I had any thoughts on how to possibly approach people, because in this case, this comment, I think the person was, I should have wrote it down, but either painfully shy, very introverted. And I started thinking, gosh, what kind of tips would I give on that? And then I reflected on something where I narrowed it down to two things that are still very paramount in my life. The first one that you can do, that you can try, that I still do now every day, it's a default setting for me. It's nothing that I have to work at anymore, but I did have to go through the process in order to build my confidence in walking up to people and engaging. I know most of you are saying, well, how can that be? You're a clown. You've got all these things, all these channels. You've done so much. Yeah, I got to that place. But in the late 80s and through the early 90s, I was kind of like, just minding my own business, surfing, wrote music, and did whatever I did, but never really was outwardly engaging. I didn't like to go to parties, which a lot of people say that was possibly a major fail in my Hollywood career as a composer, because I didn't network. I didn't know what to say to people. I didn't want to bullshit people, But in the growth for myself through this process, what I started off doing, which is now in my elbow, is something that you could do if you are shy, you're not confident, you're not sure, you don't know how somebody might respond. The first thing that you can do is something that you already do, and you probably don't know it. Every day or every other day or every few days, you engage in somebody. It could be the person who's giving you the coffee and your morning muffin, or the person at the market, or wherever you may go to have to engage somebody. Give them money, you take something and you go and you leave. Could even be the person who drops off food at your door, or you open the door and you pay for food. One of the things that you can do and be mindful of is that if in fact that you are kind of pulled in from engaging, a lot of times what will end up happening is that you're never really looking at the person with conversation. You're not acknowledging your space with that individual visually. And so maybe one of the things you can do is, whenever you go up to that person, let's just say you're going to a coffee shop, and if you walk up and if you do this, and let's say the camera is the server person going, hey, can I help you? And you're doing this. Yeah, can I get, I'd like a coffee and some cream and sugar, please. And can I get a muffin, please? And even if your demeanor is kind of, more closed up than mine, and you go, and that's all. And then the person asks you, would you like sugar with that? They looked at you, and you may not look back at them, but you're kind of listening to them. So no, I'm okay. And so in this whole time, you haven't engaged them. What you can do, if you want to as well too, you got to make this decision, is you start that engagement with a brief, hey, good morning, how are you? And even if they don't respond within a second, if it's a minute, yeah, we got another issue, a second or two, then, remember, you're not doing this to get kind of like a gratification. Immediately, you're doing this to just making it that practice. Hi, how are you doing this morning? Oh, good. Listen, can I get a cup of coffee? And would you mind, I saw this like big fat blueberry muffin over there, like the second one. If you can get me that one, that would be cool beans. But I don't need it heated up. And that's all. And then the person goes, oh, okay, listen, would you like some sugar with your coffee? No, I'm good. Thank you very much. I'm good to go. Okay. Bing, bang, boom. that few seconds of engagement there will lift your confidence. Remember, we're not doing this so that, you're getting this kind of result from the other person, because not everybody's going to respond the same way. Maybe that person's had a bad day, or that person is sidetracked and had an argument with the boss earlier, or whatever, and you can sense that too. But by doing that, you actually are kind of honoring that person's few seconds in time and space that they're giving you, even if they're at a job and their job is to serve you. You can make that engagement anything you want. And for me, how I like to make it is just, I got 10 seconds with this person, and authentically, I'm going to just give you just some eye contact and say, hey, good morning. Hey, thank you very much. I'll see you later. And that's it, and it's not like you're hanging out waiting for more response or what will happen from that. These are like these little pop-offs of dopamine or lifts of confidence. Because you're not saying, well, now I've got to stay there to continue engage, because now what are you going to talk about? You work into your levels, you work up to those things. But if you're really painfully shy, or you don't have that confidence, you start off with that. Because that's the one thing that's a certain, is that engagement with the individuals at the store, the coffee shop, or the local bar, or wherever you go. Just because you go to a bar too doesn't mean you're social and you got all that confidence. And that leads me to number 2. Funny enough, like I said, how is it that I was extremely, I suffered from lack of confidence in my mid 20s till my early 30s. And my life has always been kind of by myself, right? So today, it's a Sunday, everybody's out playing around and I'm writing music here by myself. As a composer, my life has been by myself. I work by myself. I have no office people to engage with. I have no passing, people. So one of the things that happened after there was a big upheaval in my career when I was like 28, 29, is I went, all right, well, I'm still going to write music, but I got to change gears. I'll go be a bartender. I bartended at a couple parties before, and my friend's restaurant needed some help, and I started there, which ended up being a 10-year career. Now, if you get yourself into an industry where people have to come to you, they ask you questions, it could be a service industry like a Home Depot or one of those kind of places, grocery stores, anywhere where somebody has to ask you, retail, blah, 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 food service. In my case, the choice of being a bartender was important because somewhere inside of me, because I love to bartend, first of all, that was just great. I just loved doing it. But when that person would come up and engage me, it's because they want a sense of relief. They're going to start, the place that I was a bartender at was it was a bar inside a really well-known place, Italian restaurant called Michelli's Restaurant in Universal City. So it wasn't a bar where, it was pool tables and stuff, where I've worked a couple of those though as well. But so you would get drinks and then get called out to dinner. Okay. Well, tons of restaurants do that. But for me, one of the things was I would be nervous sometimes because, I'd see this guy who's 6'6", full of tattoos, and, he's got this thing, and I'm like, well, I've got to be courteous, and I think he's probably going to want a drink. So I'd be like, you have to engage. Hey, what can I get for you today? Big guy, I'll have a Cosmopolitan. What? No, what I'm saying is that all of a sudden, you find that engagement is part of a service. So if you, for me, the bartending thing was great too, because I got to talk to all types of people, all types of businesses, and it ended up kind of rebuilding my music career without a doubt. Because one of my biggest breaks actually for national commercials came out of that bar on a happenstance situation. But by that time, I had grown my confidence in being a bartender and serving people drinks and having to say, hey, what can I get for you? Hey, listen, I'll be with you in 30 seconds. Let me get these drinks over here for these people. I'll get right on there. And then they'd give you a nod because you acknowledge them and you get right back to them and stuff. And you start to work your confidence in the way you communicate with people, because it's kind of a pleasant thing when you're doing the bartending thing, unless it's, a gnarly place and, tough bar or something. But both of those things rounded itself off for me as I got older and I came back to Hawaii. And even though I'm still a composer, and I was still composing since I've been here back 100% over 20 years here to Hawaii, I still ended up being a bartender, being a tour guide a couple of years at a place called Kualoa Ranch. I was able to use everything that I learned in order to engage people that paid good money to go on a tour so that they can learn something. So I was able to teach them thing. So that was like, I lifted myself from being this quiet cat and like not too sure about, how do I engage with people to, and then finally ended up being a children's hospital entertainer. And once again, I'm back in the industry of education and stuff and talking to groups of people about, historical and botanical places here in Hawaii. So I think for as long as this video's been, if you're still here, you type in, I'm still here, that's the funny one. Just start slowly. And I think the most important thing that I can tell you is that if you decide to start with the awareness of, next time I go get a cup of coffee from that coffee shop, I'm just gonna look up and say, hey, good morning. Just a few seconds, and pause. Hey, good morning. And then ask for something, let it lock, and once again, we can't tell how that person's gonna respond. But I'd say 70% of the time, they're just as stoked that you connected with them and you honored your space with them and being present with them for just a few seconds, and then before you know it, you've unleashed a little bit of an open communication. When those people are kind of like, oh, hey, how are you? Oh, I'm good too. Okay, great. Want coffee? And before you know it, you just had 10, 15 seconds of engagement that does make a difference, and it helps build that confidence, So probably a much longer video than I thought, but as I'm saying this, I'm feeling everything that I went through when I was younger as I'm saying it. I'm kind of reliving it right now. So it was an exciting time. And to be, where I'm at now with my life and be able to just at least say it this way, just through sheer wisdom, meaning I've accomplished it, I'm moving forward, here I am, and I can engage in this capacity, I can at least let you know for sure that the path that I took in that slow little, just say hi and just be cool and then before you know it, you realize, it's not as bad as you think. And of course, you can always encounter some people that are just complete shy, but that's, that's going to happen no matter what, right? They don't look at you. They don't want to look at you. I've served people where I'm like, hey, how you doing today? Beer, you got it. I don't turn myself off. I don't let that attitude dim my energy. I just know that person just wants to get to business. He wants his drinks. He wants some appetizers. And here you go. Blah, yep. Okay. $18. Thank you very much, man. Take it easy. Then you realize sometimes that guy who's been like the total rah, 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 but you show him the respect of not trying to overdo the communications with him. The guy leaves you $5. I'm like, all right. Wouldn't have figured that, to be the case, but you just can't tell, and always in the back of your mind too, when people don't respond, it's not about you. We don't know what many people are going through in this world, especially yourselves. How many times have somebody said nice to you and you were a complete, about it because you were just not in a good space, So anyhow, I'm gonna go take a walk, maybe even just jump in the water really quick. And have a wonderful rest of your day, evening, morning, whatever it is, drinking your cup of coffee, your cerveza, smoke them if you got them, you got your Courvoisier or whatever you're doing. Either way you look at it. Thanks for hanging out. And if you're still here, type in, I'm still here. All right.